Okay, Dr. Iris Gorfinkel is here to tell us more about this new study that suggests introducing peanut butter to kids in their early years can actually help protect them from peanut allergies later on. Dr. Gorfinkel, good morning to you.
Oh, warm good morning.
Yes. Okay. This made big headlines yesterday. A lot of people talking about this. What more can you tell us about this study when it comes to introducing peanut butter earlier on and perhaps helping later with peanut allergies?
Good news for parents who are worrying about their kids developing peanut allergies. So researchers from the National Institutes of Health, this is in the United States, took 600 kids between infancy and 5 years of age, divided them into two groups. Half of them got peanuts, the other half didn't. And guess what? What would have been 10 peanut allergies turned into 3. And then they followed them 10 years later. And it stuck. That's amazing. Most of them retained not being allergic to peanuts. And that included kids who were at high risk of peanut allergy. So this is the big news.
Okay, so do we know why? Is there a reaction with the immune system when you introduce peanuts earlier on?
It seems like it's some sort of training, a desensitization that when we're exposed earlier, we don't develop the allergy, not nearly as much. So they're not even recommending testing anymore. Just give your child peanut early on, even if they're high risk. You can just dissolve a couple of teaspoons of water in a bit of peanut butter and give it to them.
Yeah, and this really runs counter to what the previous, research and advice had been when it comes to kids and peanut allergies.
Oh, you're making me feel old. Okay, so when I was in medical school, that was the teaching. In fact, we got to eat the humble pie on that one, the peanut humble pie.
Okay.
All right, doctor, that is big news. Interesting to see for sure. We see this often in the United States, but now Ontario is set to open wine and beer sales to all those corner stores in September. Other Canadian provinces have their own rules in place, but what kind of effect could this change have on health?
Well, it's kind of interesting. We have to ask ourselves, what price are we willing to pay for that convenience? Yeah, so the problem is that when alcohol is far more available, we're talking about 8 times the number of stores now, 24/7 access. What does that do? That's going to increase utilization, right? People are going to drink more. And ask yourself this, how are they going to cart all those underage drinkers? And the answer is that's also going to expand. And this comes at a time then 1 in 5 Ontario youth are already suffering from mental health challenges. So how are we going to manage that? What's that going to mean to the increased cancers, to the increased cardiovascular problems? Who's going to be there? You know, by 2026, 1 in 4 Ontarians will not have a family doctor. So the problem is Canada has, unlike the United States, a contract with its population to provide health, and that contract is being threatened.
All right. Also making big headlines, Canada's guidelines for breast cancer screening will remain now unchanged after a Canadian task force said people in their 40s should not get routine mammograms. Some medical experts, as you know, Dr. Gorfinkel, and we have talked about, have called this dangerous. They wanted the age lowered from the current 50. What do you make of all of this?
Yeah, it's confusing, isn't it? 1 month ago, we heard that all women 40 and above from the Canadian Cancer Society should be getting screened with a mammogram every 2 years. And now the Canadian Task Force says, no, if you're average risk, you should wait till the age of 50. And the answer is that it's not a one-size-fits-all. If a woman has dense breasts, if she has a family history of breast cancer, if she is from a high-risk country, Black origin, Hispanic origin, from the Caribbean or Asian, these are women who are at high risk. So this is an individual conversation. And in most provinces at this point, and certainly within the next 8 months, women will be able to self-refer if they want from the age of 40.
And that's an important point, something I think we should underscore here is even though the recommendation remains 50, in your 40s, you can request this?
You can request it in most of Canada. And by fall, you know, it's going to include pretty much everywhere.
Doctor, I want to ask you about supplements because there's a new study out that suggests that those fish oil and omega-3 supplements might not actually be the best things for our heart health. What can you tell us about this study?
Yeah, this is fascinating. This is out of the British Medical Journal. And what they did is take 400,000 plus people, this is in the UK Biobank, found the ones, this is about 1/3 of them, who were in fact taking omega-3s or fish oil supplements. And why would they take that? Because it's been shown to reduce inflammation, because it can reduce cholesterol. So they figure, hey, it might be good for my cardiovascular health. But guess what? When healthy individuals took it, they actually worsened cardiovascular health. I mean, it wasn't by a massive amount, but their stroke risk went up by 15%. That's not good. And their risk of having a heart arrhythmia went up a bit as well. Now, it did seem to be a little bit helpful in those who had atrial fibrillation or a pre-existing heart condition to begin with. So this should be a conversation with a doctor. Ultimately, there is no substitution for a Mediterranean diet. What's the best source of fish oil? Fish.
Fish.
Hey, you stole my thunder.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's pretty much it.
All right. Dr. Gorfinkel, appreciate it as always. Good to see you this morning. Thanks for coming in.
Thanks so much for having me. It's always a pleasure.
Okay.